Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Friday. And Tom, for the first time, we have a new federal holiday. It's Juneteenth today. We're celebrating Juneteenth, which is actually tomorrow, the 19th, but we're celebrating it today because the federal government does holidays on weekdays. So federal employees have off for the first time. And of course, this commemorates some slaves in Texas being freed back at the end of the Civil War. So we don't get new holidays very often. This is pretty big.
Absolutely. So does that mean everything is closed down? Banks and...
I believe when it's a federal holiday, banks are closed. I know my wife works at Johns Hopkins University, and they were closed before. The federal holiday was announced a couple of days ago.
Got it. Interesting.
So, yeah. But, you know, we talk about our calendar and the days of the year and what's going on. And, you know, Juneteenth seemed worthy of, paying some attention to, unlike National Talk Like Donald Duck Day or some of the other ones we've had along the way.
Correct. Yeah, a little more value to that than
that's it.
Recognizing Donald Duck. But
so it's our wrap-up time, Tom. We've been talking all week about stepping away from work. And we, of course, timed this at near the start of summer. And we wanted to help people understand why it's important to get away. And we talked about the value. We talked about some of the challenges. We talked about some of the things that happen if you don't take time away. And today we're just really going through quickly the takeaways that you or I had over the course of the week. Because, as we think about these things all week, I know it shifts my thinking every week.
Sure. Yeah, well, I think that, for me, I think there were a couple of things. The first was the conversation on Monday and really thinking about the macro stepping away as well as the micro, and the value that both of those have for you or your organization, your team, and finding the time to commit to doing that. I think it is really important for you to step away to see the big picture. I also think it's very valuable during the day to step away so that you can clear your mind for a minute, take your focus on something else, and to either celebrate what you've just accomplished and to set almost like, okay, this is stopped. I'm done with that. Now I'm moving forward to whatever is next. And I've given myself the time, the permission to step away so that I can be fully prepared to dive into whatever's next.
It becomes part of the workday. It's not, to me, it's not giving permission. It's like taking your medicine or eating food or drinking water or exercising, things that you've got to do over the course of the day. And I think that was the thing that came to me over the course of the week, was the idea that this has to be built in at the front end of the day. It can't be that as I go through the day and I have meetings every half hour all day, that I suddenly say at 3:30, I've done 8 hours of meetings. I'm going to take a 5-minute break. That doesn't work real well. And really thinking through what the day and the week looks like at the front end is key to me. Like I told you this week, I'm not in the office Thursday or Friday, and I double timed it this week. I mean, I booked everything I could at the first couple of days of the week. And I was busy, but I built breaks into that. I also knew that I wanted to have the days off at the end of the week. So it was like the reward for the hard work was the time off. But I planned that 2 weeks prior. Hey, is it okay if we move this meeting because I'm trying to do this thing? And people are like, yeah, sure, no problem. When do you want to do it? I'm like, well, Wednesday, Tuesday, or we skip a week. Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
no,
not as hard as it seems.
no, it's not. I think that if you actually, as we talked about yesterday, if you actually commit to it, and you'll start to really see the value very quickly. And you'll be like, wow, why wasn't I doing this before? I think that's one of the things that I was doing before the pandemic. Like I got into a habit of I would work for a while and then I'd be like, okay, I got to go. And I would take the dogs out in the backyard and we'd walk around. And then I would come back and be like, all right. And I was committed to it because they needed to go outside. And so I was forced to say, okay, there was nobody else in the house. That's going to be my responsibility. And it gave me a chance to walk around and just take my mind off some things and then be prepared for whatever was next when I came back. And there was real value in that. And when more people were home, I got away from it. And I think it would be a good habit to go back to, because I remember how beneficial it was to come to whatever the next thing was with a clear head.
And think about how you only did it because of the responsibility for getting the dogs out. It wasn't you saying, I need this to make me better at what I do. You saw the benefit professionally after you dealt with it personally. And I think that's what happens.
Sure.
We need that impetus. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to over the years who are like, oh, I always stop work at 5:30. Oh, why 5:30? Because it takes me 25 minutes to get to the childcare place, and they close at 6.
Right.
That's funny how you're forced to do that, and that's what gets you to stop work at 5:30.
Sure.
Because they fine you apparently if you're late. They impose some really. So it's just crazy to me that we build this in a way that it only is when there's a penalty if we don't leave our work.
Sure. Well, I think we think that that's the example that's been set.
Yes.
And that if others do it, if I don't do it, I'm following up. It's so funny that you should say that. After our show on Wednesday, I got a message from a guy who I used to work with, who was on my team a while ago. And he is in the sports information field. So they're the people who go around and not only promote the teams, but then also report on all the things that happen with them at the college level. And they are notorious nonstop workers.
Oh, yeah.
And I would get a couple times, just because, I was not being a very good example and working late at night and sending emails, and this person would respond. And I would respond back and be like, you should not be doing this. This is not. So they're like, well, you are. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not expecting a result. I'm not expecting you to return it. I'm just like, this is when I was able to get it done.
Right.
And I'm not expecting a return message at this moment. And what was great about the message that he sent me was, he said he really appreciated it because he has learned to step away and to find time to see the other things that life has to provide and the value that stepping away allows you to have to the work that you are currently doing. So it was interesting to me that he heard this message and was able to not only appreciate it, but to share that he had already taken some of those steps to allow him to better understand how that added value to his life.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great. It was awesome.
That's awesome. Congratulations. So, Tom, real quick, what's your one thing today?
I think my one thing goes back to the value that it allows when you clear your head. And like I think you said at one point, is stepping away doesn't necessarily mean you have to go in your backyard. It just may mean standing up. It might be whatever it does. It might be like closing your eyes and just leaning your head back for a while. Whatever you can do to sort of take yourself out of the moment. Thanks.
I was waiting to be done.
I know. I almost did it too, but I was like, to take, to allow you to complete things. And I think that's the piece, is that when we step away, it allows some closure to whatever was happening before. And I think that closure is important to allow us to then pick up and start something brand new with whatever is next. And I think so often we get in that habit of I've got it going on now. I got 6 screens open and different windows, and it doesn't allow you to singularly focus on one thing, because an email notification just popped up and my phone binged, and I've got all these different things. So when do we ever find closure to what we're doing so that we can put that aside and then really focus on whatever the next step might be? So I think the willingness and the ability to say this has value, and it is helpful for me to close one action, celebrate it, whatever that looks like, step away, and then pick up with whatever the next action is going to be.
I love that. I don't think I can add anything. I would just tell people, hit the button that says go back 30 seconds and listen to it over again, because it'll make a big difference in how effective you are. So Tom, short program today because we've got a lot going on.
Yes.
So
Yes,
you want to close this thing out?
I'm happy to do that, everyone. Thanks so much for being part of our conversation this week about stepping away. We'd love to hear your one thing from the week, or any comments you have about the conversation, the topic. And if you're struggling with that, and if you're not sure how to find that way, the ability to step away, to understand what the value is, or to celebrate the ability of completing one action before you then take the next step, our Find Your Renegade Way in 90 Days might be of value. It's a program that we're launching, getting started with, that you can be a part of, and make sure that this summer, you are going to, at the end of the summer, you're going to be in a very different spot than you are right now. And that you will have seen the value of stepping away, the opportunity to take one step, complete that step, and then take the next, and how that will get you a lot further than if you are just taking a million different steps all over the place. So if you'd like more information about that, I'm sure Bob will put it in the comments. If not, just message us or put in the comments 90 days, and we'll reach out to you with further information about the program. That being said, you can also come and join us in the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where we are growing a community to try and help people find their own pathway, their own unique pathway to success. Wind chimes. Very good.
I'm sorry. Can you hear them?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Sorry, okay.
So just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and you can join our group. It is a private group, so you have to ask to join, and tell us why you're a renegade. Then you can be a part of our growing community, where we are helping people take their next step and find and travel their own unique pathway to success. So we hope we will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. If not, we'll see you Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of today's Antidote. And here is some further information about the Ring of Renegades group. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we will see you soon.
Carving your own path is tough. You want and need a community to offer you insights and advice, share inspiration, provide support, and save you time and money. But where do you find all that? Here's the easy answer: the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners identify their next steps. Here's some of what you will find at the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Just go to ringofrenegades.com and join today. Find and accomplish those next steps.